So welcome. My name is Seth Hurd. I'm CEO and founder of BrandXpand. We help online sellers drive traffic from our external buyer network of over 35,000 high-intent shoppers. We've done over 1.2 million orders and 10,000 campaigns through our technology over the last 5 years. And so today we're going to be talking about Ecom sales flywheel, how elite sellers stack traffic, feedback, and conversion signals to boost ranking and sales across various marketplaces. We got a lot of awesome panelists. I know a lot of these guys and gals personally, and they're experts in their field, so they're going to provide a lot of value for everyone. So stick around, and yeah, hopefully you guys can take some great content away from this, and these panelists can help you grow your online businesses. So on that note, let me go ahead and share. Oh, and just really quick with sharing, just make sure you guys can have the share button. The last webinar we had, we weren't able to have participants share, so we'll check that out here in a second. Okay, so to get started, we're going to talk about the Ecom sales flywheel, how elite sellers stack traffic, feedback, and conversion signals. My name is Seth Hurd, again, founder, CEO of BrandXpand. So to kick it off, we're going to talk about kind of a sensitive topic, right? The Amazon ad space. Amazon ads is crazy. It's up to 68.8 billion in 2025, the revenue. And just to put some context around that, in 21 it was 31 billion, so it's nearly doubled over the last few years, and it's not slowing down. So the result is, of course, sellers can feel this with their ACoS rising, their return on ad spend decreasing, and then net margin compression, profit margins are on the decline. So it's becoming more evident that you need to drive external traffic and find other ways to get customers and not rely solely on PPC, because it's just becoming unsustainable. So we say PPC captures demand, external traffic creates it. PPC is really a bidding war. You're capturing people already within the Amazon ecosystem, right? So CPCs rise every year. Impact disappears the moment you stop campaigns. It does not improve organic ranking sustainably. The second you pull ads, your ranking drops, and it doesn't have a compounding effect over time. Again, it's what we call it rank renting. So you're just renting space at the top of the search page, and the second that you stop paying rent, your customers disappear. So external traffic creates a net new demand beyond marketplaces. It expands your total addressable market share, drives sales velocity, improves organic rank, and compounds with every campaign, and reduces long-term dependence on paid ads alone. So I always tell sellers, use external traffic in conjunction with PPC, and you should see the highest returns. Three ways, of course, there's other ways that sellers drive traffic to their listings, but the three main ways are PPC, influencer campaigns, and BrandXpand. PPC, just like it sounds, is pay-per-click. So you're capturing existing demand, and the ranking impact is minimal unless you're pouring a lot of money into it. ROAS predictability is kind of medium. Unless you spend a lot of money, it's hard to tell what your returns are going to be, targeting different keywords across broad phrase and exact campaign types. And the scalability is limited by cost per click. Risk is generally high. You're pouring a lot of money to essentially test to see how campaigns do. Influencer campaigns, these drive more awareness. You're paying a flat fee to get your product in front of a lot of people, but you have no idea if that's going to drive sufficient traffic, right? We've experienced this in our own business where we paid $1,000 to an influencer and saw very minimal traction with that, right? So it's difficult to scale, and ROAS predictability is low. With BrandXpand, we see it's a pay-per sale, so you only pay after you get a sale. We create demand and we capture awareness, so we do both by driving new customers to your listing. Across over 10,000 campaigns, we see an average of 68% BSR lift, and ROAS is about 8.11x across all 10,000 campaigns on average. Fully scalable, fully automated software, and the risk is low because it's performance-based. You know exactly what you're going to get. A couple things that we learned from over 10,000 campaigns, and we did this comprehensive case study, and we have a lot more data on this. So if anyone listening is interested, reach out to our team. I'll have something at the end where we can discuss in more detail and try to apply the tactics to your campaigns. So consistent sales beat spikes. Day parting improves sustainability. So we like to drip orders across normal distribution throughout the day. And mature listings can actually outperform new launches. This is something else that we found that was super interesting. is mature products, meaning they were a year or older, in some categories, specifically home and kitchen, actually outperformed honeymoon products. So across different categories and different life cycles, sometimes drive different returns, and we have all that comprehensive case data that we can again apply to your campaign. And then category consistency matters. The top 4 categories we have that make up 80% of all of our campaigns: supplements, beauty and personal care, household, and home and kitchen. So if you're in any of those categories, you're in good company. We help a lot of sellers and a lot of brands and agencies drive sales for those categories. Velocity is the ranking multiplier. Sorry, super loud outside. Every order drives keyword relevance. The faster you reach ranking thresholds, the more organic traffic compounds your paid investments. And then typically over a 2-week period, 80 to 120 units is going to drive the highest returns. I did a webinar yesterday where we went through all 4 of these categories and basically said, what does the best type of campaign structure look like based on a comprehensive case data? The top 20% performers, which each had about 200 to 500 campaigns. And we looked at those to see exactly what the best structure is to do promotions and giveaways to rank the best. And we have access to all that data. Over 1.2 million orders through the tech. We have a lot of data points, and what we found is average BSR improvement, 68%, 8.11x average ROAS. Top 10% of campaigns did 24x, which is pretty phenomenal. And again, the average ranking shift was about 2 weeks. I'll talk about kind of how the software works here in a second. But before I do that, I want to jump in product launching versus seeding. This is something that I'm trying to educate our audience more about, because a lot of brands think we're just for product launching, which is not the case. Product launching is more for new products, think, honeymoon period, short, high intensity campaigns to focus on initial BSR, first reviews, and keyword indexing. This is a high cost, high ROI, fast payoff type of campaign. We're seeing more and more seeding type campaigns, especially with really large CPG brands that are just driving a consistent amount of volume through our buyer network to complement their PPC efforts and influencer campaign efforts and stuff like that. So with product seeding, it's over 30 to 90 days. So it's much more long-term. You think about your listings already established, you have good keywords, good social proof, A+ content, all that good stuff. So you really just need to drip sales from an external traffic source into your listings to sustain ranking, which is what we help with. A couple case studies. I'm not going to go into each one of these, but we have, I think, 15 to 20 case studies that we can send to you if you're interested. But we've helped a lot of different brands lift sales across different categories. And again, we have data into all of this with our comprehensive case study. So what we typically do, if you come and say, hey, I'd like to do a launch campaign, I'd like to drive external sales to my listing, this is my ASIN, we can tell you this is what the best structure would look like based on all of our comprehensive case data. So, and then, our platform allows you to launch in under 10 minutes. Everything's fully automated. We've worked really hard over the years to automate the entire process. So you import your product without an API integration. You configure your campaign, you put daily order volume, listing destination, connect to wallet. You can set your budget. We have a transparent cost calculator in the setup process. And then you can launch your campaign instantly to over 35,000 high intent shoppers. We have an auto launch approval, which will use AI to verify your launch details, match your product listing, and everything looks good to go. And then we ship it over to our deal platform to get in front of those shoppers. And then we track results in real time: orders, ROAS, BSR movement, keyword rankings, and customer feedback summarized with AI. Okay, so last thing, just a little bit more about the features that we offer. So we have, again, a high intent shopper network of real high converting buyers that match your exact product category and price point. We use AI to summarize all the buyer feedback that we get. So that is what the cashback is based on, is the feedback. That's how we stay compliant. So when they go to the listing, they leave feedback on your product listing. They leave feedback on the post-delivery experience. So if you get, let's say, 100 buyers to leave that feedback, then we use AI to summarize it and ship it back to you so you have a nice cohesive plan of action to improve your customer experience. Autonomous launch engine. So again, everything's fully automated with our software. We have day parting controls, which is super important because we don't want to just blast a bunch of orders in like 10 minutes. So we drip your sales in kind of a normal distribution throughout the day to make it very organic. And we also have advanced buyer controls. This is super important. We don't want the same buyer coming back ordering over and over again. So you can dictate how frequently each unique buyer can order your product, which is great. And then advanced reporting and keyword tracking as well. So to kind of end this, what we're going to do for anyone on the webinar is do a month free of premium. We do have limited slots. We just closed down our last promotion because it filled up. So if you're interested, scan the QR code. Again, $6.95 value, super competitive rev share. You get Evergreen, which is really awesome. You can extend campaigns at 50% off rev share. So it allows you to mitigate rank drop at your end of your campaigns. And we're going to add 250 to your wallet just to get started. So we're like actually paying you to adjust the software. So it's a super good offer. Take advantage of it. Scan the QR code or copy this link. You can take a screenshot of this page. And yeah, we'd love to help you expand your brand into different marketplaces. And by the way, we do all marketplaces, not just Amazon. We've done over 30 marketplaces to date. So wherever your listing is, we can drive traffic too. And that is it for me. So I'm going to stop my sharing here. And next we have Mike, I believe Mike Frekey.
Frekey.
Frekey. I love
Yeah,
that
the way you want to say
name. Mike Frekey. Okay, cool. So Mike Frekey is IGPPC. He's going to talk about master your market, leveraging brand analytics to grow CDR. I'm going to like Mike introduce himself. He's going to do a much better job than me. So I'll pass it over to you to get started.
Beautiful. Well, Seth, thanks so much for hosting and for passing it over to me. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Here we go. If my computer, there we go. So first, a little bit about me. Hello, I'm Mike Frekey. I'm a managing partner at IGPPC, which is a fancy title to just mean I have a wing of this agency all to myself. And hopefully, if people ever want to get connected, you can work directly with me. I am the former head of advertising at Perch in the aggregator space. I've managed over $90 million at this point in ad spend, pretty much all on Amazon. I've been working in Amazon advertising for about 10 years. And if you haven't put it together through the name IGPPC, we are in fact a PPC advertising agency. We focus on Amazon. For today's talk, I'm going to dive into search query performance, how to pull, review some actual data, and have some really good info to know, all with a focus on how you can be utilizing this data to track and improve conversion rates. So starting out, again, for those who don't know, brand analytics is one of the most powerful forms of reporting on Amazon, and search query performance is my personal favorite report that I think at this point Amazon is still ever actually released. This is a first-party data source where Amazon will show you per registered brand what are the top 1,000 search terms that are most relevant to your products and to your brand. They will show you the actual search volume associated with those terms, how much click traffic you are driving, both advertising and organic, how many purchases you are driving, but not only your data. Amazon actually gives you access to how many total clicks took place on Amazon from any product after somebody searched one of these terms, and how many total purchases took place on Amazon after somebody searched one of these search terms. Now, this is based on a 24-hour cookie window, meaning that somebody has to purchase within 24 hours of a click. Otherwise, they stop tracking. So this is not going to be all of the data, but it is highly directional. And again, everybody is playing by those same rules. And I use this a lot to measure market share within specific search terms or groups of search terms. So I can sort of determine what your meaningful market is. So now, what exactly do you do with this data? Well, you can identify gaps in your brand competitiveness, start to identify where your conversion rates are significantly missing the mark relative to the rest of the market that you're competing in. You can take all these terms that are maybe converting better, you can target them in PPC. Where you have a lower conversion rate, you can start to optimize your content, both front end and back end, with those specific terms. And again, you can just measure changes to your own trends and how you are relating to the market as you do any test. So whether you're changing your product images, you're changing your price point, you can now use this as a meaningful data source to identify not just, hey, we're going into Prime Day right now, how our sales are up. Of course they are. Sales are up for everybody right now. But now you can start to go in and identify, did the sales you run at the end of the week actually convert at a significantly better rate than the rest of the market? Or did you just ride the same wave that everybody else was riding. This gives you a first-party data source to actually dive into all of this. So now, how exactly do you pull this? This is still a seller-only report. Vendors have brand analytics, but they still do not have search query performance reporting. So if you are a vendor, I highly recommend just get any seller account to also have your brand registry. You don't have to be selling as a vendor or as a seller. You just need to have a seller account that has access to your brand registry. From there, navigate to brand analytics, navigate to search analytics, and navigate to search query performance. You can select either a brand level or an ASIN level. I always recommend starting with your brand, just the most recent full month of data. You can do quarterly, you can do weekly as well. Download it to Excel, and then we did create a free-to-use, no login tool, sqpr.igppc.com. Upload it, and it'll just start analyzing all of these trends for you. I will, again, tell you, free to use. We don't even collect email addresses. This is entirely a go on in, start playing around with your own data. This is really, really meaningful data to be looking at, and we just want to be able to unlock that level of analysis for people. So now, this is what the tool looks like. Right now, I did a case study for the brand Champion. And the way that you can use this is it's going to identify what are your top meaningful search terms that you are we look for a couple different groupings. Both, are you actually generating sales? Are you generating a meaningful amount of clicks? And do you have a meaningful conversion rate? In this instance, you can see of the top 25 terms that we're looking at, you're getting an average purchase share of 6.7%, average conversion rate of 2.27%, but your brand conversion rate is 2.6. So you're actually beating your market in this grouping of terms. Right now, we're filtered down to also only terms that contain jogger or pants. This was a sweatpants sort of analysis. I will note that because brand analytics, again, you can think for the brand Champion, they sell a whole lot of products. You are going to get all 1,000 terms that are relevant to the brand. And so if you need to be diving into a specific group of terms, you'll want to use either some filters or, again, maybe look at ASIN specific reports. And so some of the keyword trends that we looked at in here, we try to identify where there's maybe a big gap between click share and purchase share. If you were generating significantly more clicks than you were generating purchases, you are going to have a worse conversion rate than the rest of the market. I analyze all of these in a very directional sense. So both, I will look at this in the absolute value of where are we lower than the market, but then I want to be tracking those trends on a week by week or a month by month basis, so we can start to identify maybe some of these search terms you had a bad week, but if we're starting to see a gap grow, that's where I want to start taking actions by optimizing the page for those sorts of terms. Or if we are on the flip side, we are growing a moat that tells me that maybe I can afford to be more aggressive by targeting some of those terms. Here was another example that we looked at where we can see anything that contained big and tall. And so when we have big and tall, we have a couple of specific outliers where we are dramatically outperforming as a brand, and it's actually the t-shirt space or just broad big and tall, but we are not winning on men's tall sweatpants. That gives me an indication that when I'm looking at the entire catalog for Champion, I know that we're losing ground in conversion rates relative to the rest of the market in our sweatpant category, but we're maybe doing a better job on t-shirts or hoodies. So other information for people to know. One, if you are not actually converting at a comparable rate to the rest of your market, your ranks won't be sticky. Seth mentioned it earlier. A lot of advertising is just rank renting. Well, if you are wanting to spend money in order to improve your ranking, but you are not actually a competitive product and you are not converting even just at an average level, it's going to be a very fast process to lose those ranks once you stop spending. I will also note that most categories are going to see at least 30% of sales take place after the 24-hour cookie. So again, this is not going to be a great metric for you to be tracking for absolute value. This is definitely something you want to be looking at for the directional trends. And then lastly, the search query performance report tracks 1,000 keywords for the brand level, but only your top 100 for ASIN. That's why I'll recommend you start by looking at your brand level data, and then you narrow yourself down to the ASIN level. And again, you can use the filters within the tool to look at maybe it's a grouping of 200 terms instead of, again, only that top 100 if you're looking at child ASIN by child ASIN. That's my time. That's what I got for you. I will also do my shameless plug. If you are a seller or a brand owner spending at least $10,000 a month on advertising, please reach out to us at igppc.com/contact, schedule a free audit, mention you came from here, and we'll make sure that I am, in fact, the person that you are talking to and analyzing your data. So that's my time. Seth, I can pass it back over to you.
Yeah, thanks for that. Super interesting. I'm definitely going to play around with the tool more. We had a hack series yesterday, and somebody was talking about the search query performance report and like looking at basically search terms that have a really high click share but a low impression share, and like going
Yeah,
after those and targeting those. And we tell sellers all the time, like if you really want to know what keywords you need to rank for, download the search query performance report and dive into it. So that's an awesome tool. We'll have to check it out, Mike.
awesome.
Cool. Okay, let's pass it over to Tom Cochrane. So Tom's going to talk about the creator halo effect, stacking TikTok seeding with Amazon creator connections. This is definitely a hot topic right now. Creating this halo effect from doing TikTok launches. So Tom will talk about that. Tom's operator first. He is the founder of Eleviam, and they've put 4.7 million of their own capital into Amazon inventory and have scaled 40 plus CPG brands across Amazon, Walmart, and TikTok Shop. I know Tom personally. I got to know him over the last couple of weeks. Great guy. Tom, I'm going to pass it to you and yeah, do a brief introduction, and then I'll give you 10 minutes to present your topic.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the intro and for inviting me to be here. I appreciate it. So yeah, let me pull this up really quickly. Make sure you guys can see that.
Yep, you're good.
All right, cool. So I'm actually going to walk through a case study that we did with one of the brands that we're working with, and just the impact of TikTok, how we kind of view it, and kind of go from there. So TikTok definitely is a hot topic. And one thing that I will say jumping into this is it can be incredibly powerful. I think brands have two different trains of thought around it, right? Some want to develop a secondary channel of revenue and really try to net profit from it. Others are okay running with making a little bit of money or break even because they understand the impact that that top of funnel awareness drives. So going into this, right, TikTok creates a ton of demand, right? You can get in front of hundreds of thousands, millions of people. And the way we see it still is that a lot of people don't fully trust TikTok to check out, right? It creates that awareness. It creates that, like they keep seeing it. They're, hit with a bunch of these people talking about it, or one of their favorite people that they're already following. It's basically manufactured word of mouth, right? So once they see it, they typically are going to go find proof about that product. They're not going to make that impulse purchase. Some do. And there's definitely ways to ensure that happens on platform. But a lot of people will also go then try to validate and go find proof that the product is what they say it is, right? And this is where we see a ton of that actually carry over to Amazon, right? People, even when they're in store, if they look at a product, they want to go on Amazon to see the reviews, the social proof, and ensure that it is what say it is, see other people's, experience with the product, and confirm that it actually solves the problem that they're trying to solve, essentially. So the reviews, ratings, prime shipping, obviously Amazon's Amazon, and that converts at scale. And this also, because they go to Amazon and they're typing in the brand name, the product name, they're searching for you organically, that helps tremendously with your organic rank over time as well. So this is kind of where this flywheel compounds. And essentially the engine of it pays for itself. And this is what I was talking about with TikTok is if you're running it and you're trying to net another 50K a month, I'm not saying that's not possible, but realistically, if you're running it, even making a little bit of money or break even, the dollar that is generated and the awareness that is generated on TikTok actually compounds across not only Amazon, but it also, if you're running this and working closely with seasoned, proven creators, then you're getting spark codes and you're likely reposting the organic content that they created as well on your social profile. So you're growing your TikTok, you're growing your Amazon, as well as if you have spark codes, now you have new media assets and creatives you can run on Meta, Google, and other places. So that's how this whole thing kind of compounds, right? So this is an example of actually a pretty small case study, which is why I wanted to use it. And in this scenario, right, we product seeded 75-ish creators. We had a lot more accept, but on TikTok, we were very specific about who we picked, right? We're really doing our homework and ensuring that the demographics match the brands and that everything syncs up, that they have true GMV, that they're really active on their account, that there's actually engagement. And then you arm them with a true brief about not only the product itself, but the brand, do's, don'ts, angles. And again, going back to from all the lives that they do, hopefully, obviously, consumer behavior continues to change, right? It went from, brick and mortar, then Amazon came along, and now a lot of it is the social media content, the live shopping, and we're seeing that have a huge impact here. But then the Spark codes, rights to repost their content. And then what we've realized partway through all of this too is we always, if we're running Amazon, we step in, the first thing we do is fix the organic foundation. Before we spend any money on ads, we want to make sure everything is optimized as possible. And we'll continue to do that. We A/B test images, titles, you name it, just to make sure we're making marginal gains all the time. But then in Amazon Creator Connections, it's a smaller program, yet it's incredibly powerful. And a lot of those creators are also on TikTok. And which means that what you're able to do is if they're in the Amazon Creator Connections program and you're also running it on TikTok, is that they get the commission off of their Amazon sale, but they can also go, double dip and use the commission from TikTok, but you're only sending the product to them once, right? So this actually helps a lot when it comes to product seeding. And so this campaign improved Amazon sessions by 31%, right? Was bringing in 995 new to brand buyers and 50K plus of new to brand Amazon sales, right? And in addition to that, when you're product seeding like this, your ROAS is fairly well fixed, right? If you're running a 20% commission, typically you're at a 5x ROAS, depending on, with how that all plays out. Going with the briefs, right? So I want to just touch on this briefly because, no pun intended, it's really important to get this right. And how you position the brand, how you position the product, and the more information you can actually arm a creator with, the better off the content is going to be. And that's really what you're after with this whole thing when you're product seeding, right? Is they need to make a great piece of content so that awareness actually resonates with their audience, and allows you to then repurpose those videos. So going through this, right? Who is their persona? What is the actual demographics, right? Like age, income, where they live, what are they trying to actually solve? What do they actually care about, right? And in here, this is just kind of hitting some top things, but then also the tone of voice, guardrails, brand kit, do's, don'ts, right? If you have a supplement or a beauty brand, it's like, what are you allowed to say? What are you not allowed to say? Some of these creators understand, terms of service and everything like that for each platform. I'm going to move forward a little bit faster. I just realized time-wise. So these are just kind of some snapshots, right? These are just like 3 of the pages, but we go very, very in depth. Part of this is in the onboarding process with the brand. A lot of it is ensuring that a creator knows exactly what the video should resonate with and what they need to present. As mentioned, these are kind of some of the effects of the campaign that we ran. And, Seth had alluded to this. I think it's not a 1-month ordeal, right? You have to keep stacking this and keep product seeding. And you can see here that, on day 90, sessions were up by, 31%. In addition to that, right, we had the new to brand buyers, which is a lot of the way that we actually are establishing how effective TikTok is. You can see the effect on Keepa. You can see it kind of directly at Amazon, but there's obviously that attribution's hard to track directly. So in here, right, Amazon Creator Connections feeds into this as well, but this is mainly from TikTok. And this right here, right, so to Amazon Creator Connections, it's a minimum budget of $5,000, but really you're likely not going to spend that right out of the gate, particularly if you're product seeding at like this rate. And if you're very selective about who's doing that, but that's where your commission pool is pulled from, right? And you could be more aggressive, right? If you have a very good product, you have really good margins, 25%, you want to entice that every single creator that your product's seeding to make as much content as possible, right? And if you give them more an incentive to go make more pieces of content that will hopefully eventually resonate, the entire intention here is to get them to make hopefully not just one video, but maybe 4 or 5, and also make sure they have a good return on that. So again, it's laying the foundation, making sure that organically both TikTok, your social profile, TikTok shop is set up properly, Amazon set up properly, and the buyer, the actual, you want to working with creators. It's not really about their following account and how big they are. It's really, does it meet and match your demographic? And then Amazon Creator Connections, you want to make sure that if you're going through that and you're using that program, you're double dipping with TikTok every single time. It'll save you on cost of goods and shipping, but also if they're already effective on one platform, it's likely that they're going to impact the other. And the brief really does matter. That's kind of the scaffolding of this whole thing. If you don't have a really strong brief, if you don't have other example videos that have worked well in that brief, and you're not really communicating with your creators, then it makes this much harder to execute properly. We actually have a pool of creators that are proven, that are in our own Discord group that we work with time and time again, and we continue to keep scaling and growing that. And the halo effect is real, and it carries over not just to Amazon, but also to your D2C side. It fuels your ad creatives, it fuels your organic social creatives, and helps grow from there. And a little bit about me, I'll wrap up really quickly here, but as we've said, Seth very nicely introed me. I started on the 3P side, right? I was the director of sales for an 8-figure CPG company. We've gotten brands into Dillard's, Anthropologie, Best Buy, kind of really done the big box thing, understand the brick and mortar side of this, but we focus mainly on digital channels to scale up. We've curated a very good team. So I know time-wise, this is, we're here. Here's my shameless plug. If there's an interest of having this applied to your brand, seeing if it would be something that we could deploy for you, could scan this, book a call, and otherwise I'll hand this back to Seth. But thanks again for having me, and hope there's some value there to take away from.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah, I know Tom has an excellent agency for Eleviam. So if you guys are on TikTok Shop, I kind of alluded to this earlier where I said, you're kind of like throwing money into the wind if you don't find the right creator, right? So finding the right demographic, the right persona that's going to reach your target market is going to be super important. And that money will stack over time, right? If you find the right audience and it's going to convert at a high level, that's going to make your ads super effective and drive the relevant traffic. So yeah, thanks so much for that, Tom. Next, we got Tempest Godwin. So Tempest is from one of the OGs in the space, Seller Labs. They've been around since 2013. I started selling in 2015. I thought I was late to the game, but they, had been selling their software started in 2013. So they have Feedback Genius, Ad Genius, Profit Genius, and now an AI layer that lets you ask questions around your data points. So I'll pass it over to Tempest. She's going to talk about the science of e-commerce buying decisions, and hopefully it's valuable content. So Tempest, take it away.
I think she might have fallen out.
Oh, you know what? She had internet problems and she was in here for a second and then she dropped. Okay. We'll skip over to Shane Barker from TraceFuse. Are you ready, Shane?
I already did my push-ups and sit-ups, so yeah, I'm ready. Got a little coffee in me. Yeah, I'm like,
so you're doing the sit-ups earlier. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. So I'll pass it over to you. Shane's going to talk about the hidden conversion multiplier, how reviews influence traffic rankings and revenue. And to date, they have a fully compliant, TOS compliant, pay only when reviews are actually removed. Hopefully I'm saying this correctly. And they've removed over 20,000 negative reviews. So this is a super interesting topic. I'm excited to see what you have to share, Shane.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Seth, and thanks to everybody that was presenting before me. So as Seth was saying, so my name is Shane Barker. I'm actually the owner of TraceFuse.ai. And as Seth mentioned earlier, we've removed over 20,000 reviews. And we're just in the Amazon space. We do the US, Canada, and UK. We're actually going to be jumping into the EU, which nobody knows about until now. We're going to be announcing it in another week or two. And we work with about 800 brands, and we have the highest removal rate in the industry of about 25%. And we've never had an account get suspended in what we do. So we don't do any review manipulation, anything like that. Everything we do is going to be conversations with Amazon to get reviews removed. And we are the original company to start it. So we were the big dogs, and once again continue to like to help sellers and love being on webinars and things like this. So what we're going to talk about today is what is the hidden conversion multiplier, right? Like what are we looking at when it comes to reviews, and how important are reviews on Amazon? Well, reviews obviously influence traffic, rankings, and revenue, right? I think we all know that. But I'm going to give you guys some different things and kind of show you some different numbers on really understanding the magnitude of a review, right? I think we all understand that it's the lifeline of Amazon. That's what consumers look at. But I'm going to kind of show you some numbers that I think will make a lot of sense once you've better understand, once again, what we're going to be going over. So what does reviews impact, right, when it comes to conversion? So one of the quotes that I like is that reviews don't just reflect performance, they actively drive performance, right? So some of the things that can be affected, and we'll go into this in the presentation, is the click-through rate, conversion rate, organic rankings, PPC performance, customer trust, and revenue growth. I mean, those are all, 6 things that obviously really are things that drive traffic, right? Can either make it so somebody's going to buy a product or not buy a product. So what are we looking at? So when you're a buyer and you go into Amazon, whether you realize it or not, think about this next time you go into Amazon. The first thing that you do is you look at the reviews, right? I mean, that's the first thing. You look at the star rating. If it's below a 4, guess what? You're probably not paying attention to it. If it's a common item, if it's a patented item that they only have, then great, you might take a look at that and look at some of the reviews. But you're absolutely going to look at the star rating, whether you understand that, consciously do it or not, the number of reviews, recent reviews, and then negative feedback, right? And now we have obviously Amazon is making it so now they have the sediment, right? So now before nobody would go and read 1,000 reviews, but now you have a sediment. If there's an issue with your product, that's another thing that can be affected, right? They starts pulling in the sediment and saying, hey, a lot of people have done this or done that or didn't like this. Well, guess what? If you don't fix those things, those are going to be things that are going to stop people from buying. And one other thing I want to reiterate is we don't just go after any reviews, right? We go after reviews that violate Amazon's guidelines. So if somebody says something about your product and you don't like that review, it is what it is. It's part of the Amazon game, and the part of the, launching a product is going to be, some people are going to like it, some people aren't. So we only go after stuff that, once again, violates Amazon's guidelines. So once again, every consumers look at stars, they look at the reviews, all those types of things, and guess what? What they don't look at what they look at after they look at the star ratings, assuming you make it to phase 2 of validating the product, is going to be product features, pricing, brand story, and then obviously market claims. And then I have a little thing down at the bottom: would you rather buy from a 4.8 or a 4.2? That's really just what it comes down to, right? So let's talk about the hidden costs, right, of a drop in ratings. So, we're looking at from a 4.3 to a 4.2. Doesn't sound like a crazy drop. If you're a seller, you understand the magnitude of this. What happens is you go from 4.5 stars to 4 stars, which, once again, if you just started selling, doesn't sound like a crazy drop, but you can lose anywhere from 10 to 30, sometimes 50% of your sales. So what happens is losing 1/10, you're like, hey, not that big of a deal, but guess what? You're going to have your PPC costs are going to go up. Your conversion rates are going to go down. You're going to have higher PPC costs. You're not going to get a lot of repeat customers. There's a lot of things that happen when those reviews start to happen. And that's why we look at reviews that violate Amazon's guidelines to, once again, kind of even the playing field there. So let's talk about actual numbers, right? Like, hey, what does this really mean, right? If I drop from a 4.3 to a 4.2, what does that look like? Well, reviews are conversion multipliers, right? That's the whole reason for this webinar today. And so we're going to look at, 2 products. We're going to just compare, apples to apples here, and we're seeing traffic, different conversion rate, and dramatic revenue drops, right? So if you're at a 4.3, once again, you're showing 4.5 stars, which is awesome. At 4.2, you're at 4 stars. Let's say you have 50,000 visitors. Conversion rate is going to be at 12% at 4.3, 9% at 4.2. So you have about a 25% drop. And then monthly orders at 6,000 to 4,500. Once again, that's a 25% drop. And so let's say you lost about 1,500 a month. Your average cost, or the average selling price, is $40. 40 times 1,500 is $60,000 per month. Do that times 12 months, you're losing $720,000 on one product because of dropping from a 4.3 to a 4.2. So that's big money, right? I mean, that's not something that you want to do. And I always encourage, brands, and when we're talking with them, you want to be more proactive than reactive. right? Because the process for filing cases and getting reviews removed is not a fast process. I'll be honest with you. It's not like we get, hundreds of reviews removed in a week's time. We're filing cases. We're waiting for Amazon to respond. It's a nuanced process. But at the end of the day, you don't want to get down to a 4.2 and then come to us and say, hey, I need this to go back up to a 4.3 as soon as possible. Obviously, we're going to do everything we can to get you back up there. But my thing is what I tell sellers, be more proactive than reactive. If you're at a 4.3, 4.4, 4.3, hey, you should probably reach out to us or start monitoring your own reviews. I'll show you how you can use our software for free and monitor it on your own if you don't want us to go in and file cases and get those reviews removed for you. So, obviously Amazon rewards products that convert, right? That's really what it comes down to. So if you have the algorithm obviously gives you, higher treatment, better treatment if you have a better click-through rate, conversion rates, and sales velocity, and then customer satisfaction. Some of the other things, when you start dropping in your star rating or in your BSR, conversion drops, obviously sales velocity starts to slow down. When your ratings drop, everything else goes down except your cost for PPC goes up. And so that's definitely something you want to take a look at. And so what are we looking at? Like, what are some of the early signs? If I'm a seller and I'm just starting off, even if you're seasoned in the game, what should you be looking for? Well, some of the early signs that you're going to have a review problem down the road is obviously sudden spikes in negative reviews. That can be a product with a product. That can be, maybe onboarding that there was some issues or people learning how to use the product. It can be a competitor attacking you. There's a lot of different things that can happen there. Reviews mentioning shipping, not the product, right? So if somebody's FBA and says, hey, this took us 2 weeks to get, I hate this product. Well, you don't hate the product, you hate the shipping, right? And that's more of an Amazon thing. If you're shipping out of Amazon, mistakes happen, things don't get delivered on time. It's just the reality of the business. Competitor attack patterns. And so our software actually takes a look at that, the fraudulent side of it. Not only do we look at reviews that violate Amazon's guidelines, but we also see if somebody comes and keeps buying your product and giving you a 1-star review. And then we have our filers, which are humans. We have AI as well, but we have humans. What happens is we go and they'll take a look at that account. And if they see that they're actually buying your competitors' products and only giving them 5-star and the products are very similar, then we file an escalation case with Amazon, right? We're looking to get that buyer's account removed because we're saying, hey, products are very similar. Why are they giving us 1-stars over and over and over? That's not how consumers work. If you hate a product, you don't buy a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th one, right? Just the reality of it. And then on this side, they just happen to love, and these products are almost identical. But most of the stuff we file on are against Amazon's guidelines. Take a look at Amazon's guidelines. That's really our AI that we've built before AI became crazy popular with, ChatGPT and, OpenAI and all the other fun stuff, right? We were using AI to be able to make it so that we can look at hundreds of, not thousands of reviews now, because we have over 800 brands that we work with. And what we're doing is seeing which ones violate Amazon's guidelines. And we have humans or people that go and take a look at that verified and then file actual cases. So we don't use AI to file any cases. Repeat reviewer patterns. Once again, we talked about that. Our software automatically detects that, but you can obviously take a look at that as well. And then reviewing impacting top ASINs, right? Reviews that are obviously going to go after your hero ASINs, your ASINs that are making most of your money, or even on a launch as well. They'll obviously can attack your launches is another situation to look out for. So what are we looking at? So not every review is the same. So when we talk about reviews that violate Amazon's guidelines, here goes some of the big ones are going to be product reviews that are on seller feedback pages, right? So obviously product reviews need to be on product reviews. Seller feedback is on seller feedback. Seller feedback on product review pages. We have reviews containing profanity. So if anything is somebody's going in there and cussing about your product, they can't do that no matter what the review says. It can be a legit review. Promotional or incentivizing people to write reviews, suspicious competitor generated reviews, shipping or fulfillment type things. Anything was shipped out late, broken, or used. Those are all things that's an issue with Amazon, assuming you're FBA. And so those are things you want to take a look at. Those are reviews that you can actually go in and file cases or send emails to Amazon to get those removed. Obviously, look at the guidelines. There's so many different other things. There's hate speech. There's mentioning, competitors. You can't go in and say, oh, I love these Nike Air Max, but I really wish I could have my Adidas X1s because they were my favorite shoes ever. That's a 5-star review, but you're really telling them not to buy the Nikes and go to buy the Adidas. So what do you need to do, right? What are we going to do here? Like, hey, how do I stop this, Shane, right? Or how do I at least better understand if people are attacking my brand? Well, what you want to do is you want to obviously monitor reviews daily, or it can be weekly, depending on how many reviews you get. But you want to look at patterns and see different things that are going on. You want to investigate negative review trends, right? That can be, maybe you're used to getting 1 star a day, and then all of a sudden you start getting 10 a day for 3 days. Those are things you want to take a look at. And the other thing is you also want to make sure you have a great foundation. I know this is a very Captain Obvious statement, but guess what? If you have more positive reviews, if you get a negative review, it doesn't quite hit the same, right? If you don't have a lot of great reviews, and that could be Vine program, that could be working with influencers, that could be a number of different things you can do there, and you get a 1-star review and you don't have any reviews, that crushes your launch literally overnight. So once again, when you track your rating changes by ASIN, right? There's a lot of softwares that can do that for you. Identify policy violation reviews and then act quickly. This is one of those things. This isn't the strategy of an ostrich to put your head in the sand and say, hey, it'll just go away. Reviews are going to be a reason why either somebody buys something or doesn't buy something. So if you want them to get to phase 2 of that decision making, whether it be looking at features and different things that you have, make sure that your reviews are aligned, and make sure, especially now with Alexa for shopping and stuff like that. So what I'm going to show you guys is you guys can
1 minute's left, Shane.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. So what we got here is you guys can go to the website right here. See this right here says Amazon Review Checker. What you guys can do, this is actually a free tool. You can put in your ASIN, or you can put in your the URL of an ASIN. And what will happen is we're actually going to create a report for you guys for free. And it doesn't cost you anything. And really the idea of this is for you to be able to look at patterns and things that are going on with your for your reviews. And I'll kind of show you what that report looks like. Once again, this is free. Doesn't cost you anything. You get a report, has the actual reviews, the links to it, the actual reviews here, and then why they're in violation of Amazon's guidelines. So you don't even need to do the work. We do the work for you. Then you can go and take a look at that and then file those cases with community help or whatever place you want to file those cases with. But once again, that report is absolutely free. And in the top right-hand corner, we have an amazing little calculator too that we'll talk about, give you an estimate of how many reviews you need to remove to be able to get up to the next star rating. And once again, this is all free. And here goes a guy that looks a lot like myself, even though it is AI driven, just in case you guys didn't know. And you guys can go over to TraceFuse, take a look. We've got a great newsletter over there. Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm writing about Amazon stuff all day long, and just look up Shane Barker. And once again, my email is Shane at tracefuse.ai. And once again, no gatekeeping. I just have conversations. If anybody has any questions about reviews or anything in the Amazon space, I'm here to help. Seth and everybody, thank you guys so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Shane. Appreciate it, man. And by the way, if we can share in the chat, if you guys have links, feel free to drop them in the chat. And yeah, man, like when I had my business, it was like, going from 4.4 to 4.3 is like, you see a hit, but it's not like too bad. But that 4.3 to 4.2, it's brutal. So
it is brutal, yeah.
So yeah, like Shane mentioned, be proactive, don't be reactive. If it's going to take some time to get those removed. I wish I had this solution when I was a seller, because we had these negative reviews that were like clearly competitors, and you're like, I don't know how to take it down. So that's awesome. So check it out, Shane Barker, TraceFuse, if you need some negative reviews removed. Next, I don't think Tempest is back, so we're gonna keep moving down the list here. Next, we have Mayor Patel from Hector AI. He's going to talk about building a full funnel. Hey, what's up, man? Full funnel Amazon growth flywheel with DSP, AMC, and high intent audience signals. I'll pass it over to you, Mayor. Appreciate you joining.
Thanks a lot, guys. Hey, thanks, Seth. Thanks for joining. Thanks for invitation and fantastic presentation. A few of you guys, somebody whom I know, I met in person. Mike, a great presentation, especially the SQP part is like fantastic. So I'm just going to share my screen to make this quick in the interest of time. So you guys can see my screen, right? Lovely.
Yep, you're good, Mayor.
Yeah, fantastic. So in short, my name is Meher. I'm the founder of Hector AI. We're basically ads platform, which connects the sponsored ads to AMC, to DSP, complete full stack. And today, largely, I'm going to spend some time about talking on DSP. And that's like, I believe that the maximum Amazon sellers at this moment is fighting on CPC on the search side, and that CPC is only getting expensive every month and every event. And one of the best places for any Amazon sellers to get the best optimized right audience at a lower CPC and build their funnel is actually a DSP. And I believe that the amount of granularity and the investment of time and how complex the search ecosystem is And how we handle the search ecosystem is something which is not being used in the DSP side of the business. And if the same amount of interest and time it gets invested in the DSP along with sponsored ads can actually give a tremendous combination of results which an Amazon seller can expect. And from our side, we've understood this after spending almost like in the last, I would say, 1 year, we managed more than $3.2 million of DSP spends across 100 plus Amazon sellers. And one of the things, and few of the things that we've learned on the journey while we've been managing this ad spend is something that would love to share with you guys today. And I think a DSP alone is not enough, and sponsored ads alone is not enough. So actually, DSP works complements I would say critically for sponsored ads if they have been married together. And again, DSP alone without the AMC audience doesn't really make the sense in isolation. So how do we marry AMC when it comes to, I mean, AMC is something which is related to creating audience and also related to looking at the full funnel insights when you marry the DSP and the sponsored ads coming together. So we invested a lot of time just the way we built our sponsored ads ecosystem. We realized that if we build the DSP ecosystem to help the Amazon sellers to run their campaigns efficiently without investing that much of heavy lifting of campaign creation and stuff like that, it would really add a lot of value for the Amazon sellers. Now, what really happens in the DSP when you're running a campaign is DSP doesn't give you insights and performance matrix at an ASIN level. So when you're creating campaigns on DSP, you actually need to create single audience, single ASIN, and single campaign. And if you end up creating these campaigns manually, it's going to be a lot of effort that one has to put in. And even in the DSP, when you're creating those campaigns, you have to optimize those campaigns, which I generally said that the amount of time that we invest in structuring a keyword campaigns, optimizing a keyword campaign, and managing the budgets and bids so granularly. Do we do that with DSP? It's not something which everybody does. And hence, we created a platform which allows a seller to invest the same amount of granularity while they are optimizing their DSP campaigns and even creating those DSP campaigns. So what we've done is we have an ecosystem which allows you to create one smart campaign, which actually creates single campaign, single ASIN, single audience campaign in one shot. So what basically allows you to do is that if you want to choose like 10 ASIN at a time, and if you want to create an add to cart audience, a product viewer audience, a competitor viewer audience, a search term audience, and all of these audiences are independently created, and some of them are DSP first audience, and some of them are AMC first audience. And as we know that when you want to create an AMC first audience inside a DSP, you first have to create an AMC audience, and then you have to create a DSP campaign in which you'll have to attach the AMC audience. But with Hector, what we've actually done is you can just directly create a campaign. We will create the AMC audience, we will create the DSP audience, and then attach it to the campaign, and your campaign is on the go. And once these audiences are created, the campaign automatically gets created. And then once you have these campaigns, we also have a full stack optimization wherein you can actually create rule-based automation. You can have your day parting as well. So the same amount of intensity that we show in the search campaign, you can actually show that same amount of intensity in DSP as well. So once you've created those campaigns, you have a full stack of reporting for DSP. So you can see your ASIN level reporting, you can see your inventory level reporting, you can see your creative level reporting. And when we talk about rule-based automation in DSP, imagine that when your ads are shown outside Amazon, it actually shows up in multiple placements. Now, some of those placements work, and most of those placements don't really end up working. So you can create a rule-based automation just like we do it in keywords, where if certain keywords or certain search term doesn't really work, put them in negative. So you can do the same thing with DSP, where you can say that if certain amount of money has been already invested in a certain placement, and if there is no add to cart or if there is no purchase, you can actually exclude that inventory from the campaign automatically. So that sort of a rule-based automation is already built inside the ecosystem of Hector. Now, all of this is super powerful and helps us as a agency as well, who's been managing DSP campaigns for a lot of brands. It allows us to optimize the campaigns on the go with rule-based automation and also day parting, where you can now not just similar to sponsored ads, where you understand that every hour of the day of the week doesn't really perform the same way. So similar to sponsored ads, you can actually look at which time of the day of the week your creative, when it gets displayed, what sort of a click rate, what sort of a conversion rate does it give you? And if you've identified those few slots, you can actually increase your CPMs, increase your budget during that time, even for DSP campaigns, and you can see those campaigns performing for you. So at this moment, we've actually built not just the Hector platform for sponsored ads and DSP, we actually also launched an MCP for the entire ecosystem. So you can now go to Claude, go to ChatGPT, you can plug in the Hector MCP, and you can actually create hundreds of campaigns for sponsored ads. And you can very soon, in the next 30 days, also create your DSP campaigns. You can also not just create and visualize and create dashboards from MCP, which is Hector's MCP. You can now even make changes from the Hector MCP. So you can now imagine to create campaigns, change your budget, change your bids, add your bid boosting from your sponsored ads environment. So all of those pieces are now available within the MCP environment of Hector as well. So sponsored ads MCP is already live, and it's not just about visualization. It's not just about building dashboards. It is also about taking actions. So while all the MCPs that you possibly must have heard offers you most of the visualization and live artifacts and creating dashboards, creating reviews and stuff like that. But Hector MCP literally allows you to create campaigns, change your budgets, change your bids, create schedules. Which can actually go ahead and change your bids and budgets as well. And similar to sponsored ads, you can also build and make changes to your DSP. And once you have your sponsored ads and DSP MCP together working inside an AI, you can actually marry them both, and you can start looking at insights where in a particular ASIN, after the DSP campaign is started, what sort of an incremental ROAS or an incremental number of orders are you seeing in your Seller Central? So a lot of heavy lifting, which basically one has to do it by downloading DSP sponsored ads and Seller Central reporting. You can actually let AI, let Claude to do those heavy lifting for you. So that's like a super powerful piece that we put together and allow sellers to actually leverage the power of AI with Hector MCP. And today, I would like to just put in an offer for the day, and especially for the folks that just listening this session today or maybe later, is that we offer managed service for DSP. So in case if you run DSP, but if you've not run it in the granular way that it should be running, or if you've never run DSP, if you're excited to run DSP, then we are happy to help you run and manage those DSP campaigns. The cost for that is $1,000 per month, or 7% of the spends that you're doing on DSP, whichever is higher. In case if you just want to use the platform directly, which enables you to actually take care of it, including day parting, including rule-based automation, and MCP when it gets ready will also be plugged in to the people who are using self-serve and managed service. That's like a $250 per month just for the platform, or 7% of the ad spend, whichever is higher. And for the people who are listening this, for the people who wants to leverage this today, we are ready to offer a 50% for the first 3 months as an offer. So yeah, this is what it is. Happy to take any questions. As Shane said, I spend a lot of time writing on LinkedIn as well. And in case if you are interested to learn more, I mean, that's a place that I invest my time too. and would happy to connect with anybody who is interested to know more about DSP. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's super interesting. There was like a debate going on LinkedIn. People were saying, do you think AI is going to overtake, PPC and DSP management? And of course, some people were like, no, there's always going to need to be human intervention. I'm bullish on, these MCP integrations are just eventually going to run this for us because humans make errors, right? I mean, you could train your AI to know exactly
Yeah.
how to maximize
Yeah.
whatever your mission.
Absolutely. It's not just about more about errors, but it's human can only process certain number of data.
For sure.
And when it comes to Amazon, I mean it's like the ocean of data which is available in isolation. And that amount of data, marrying it together and put them together and make sense out of this is something which is not possible from a human
For sure.
mind. And
Yeah,
that's
I know.
exactly where you bring the structured data together into an AI, and that AI helps you to make sense out of that data. And that's where the power of MCP comes in. And
sure.
yeah, we've been investing a lot of time and money into building that MCP token optimized, context rich, and lean enough that it doesn't consume a lot of token for people who are using MCP. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, you would pay a team of people to be managing your ads. You pay 3, 5, maybe up to 10,000 a month just on a team. So 1,000 a month to have you guys kind of oversee that managed service aspect is great. So people check that out. Go ahead and scan that code. Again, if you want to share, we'll share with attendees at the end of the call too.
I can drop that URL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can drop that URL for anybody who wants to just look at that. And
perfect.
I can just put that in the chat.
Cool. That sounds good.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to move to Ganesh Singh. So Ganesh is of 3dimages.ai. So he's going to talk about how elite sellers are using Amazon's new 3D update, which was released in May of 26 to maximize conversions. He's going to do a lot better job introducing himself. So I'll just pass it over to you, Ganesh, and take it away.
Cheers. Thanks, Seth. I'm just going to share my screen. Cool. Can you see it?
Yeah, you're good.
Cool. Yeah. So my name is Ganesh. So I'm the co-founder of 3dimages.ai, and we build 3D models specifically for Amazon listings. Really simple. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm basically going to show you how to increase your Amazon conversion rate without touching your ad spend, without changing your pricing, and without rewriting a single word of copy. So what I'm about to show you is literally the single biggest listing opportunity available on Amazon right now, and it's only benefiting the top 1% of brands. So if you're an Amazon seller who believes the only way to increase sales is by spending more on ads, this is for you. And also if you're an agency with Amazon clients, this is for you as well. So let's just get straight into it. So before I explain a single thing about what we do, I'm going to show you what happens when you upload a 3D model. So we upload a 3D model on a massage roller, and conversion rates went from 3 to 7%. We did a supplement brand and we had a 15% increase in conversions. And we also uploaded a simple box 3D model to an art kit and the conversions doubled. So let me just do a quick check before I go further, because I actually want to make sure this is relevant to people in the webinar. So this is for the Amazon sellers who are already getting traffic to their listing, but feel like the conversion rate could be higher. It could also be for brands that are in competitive categories that want to stand out without spending more on ads, and agencies who want to bring who want to bring a lot of value to their clients, which is something their competitors haven't figured out yet. So the question is, do you want to get more sales on Amazon without increasing your ad spend? So if you said yes to this question, then this is exactly who this is for. So let me talk about what's happening with your listing right now. So here's a question that most sellers never ask themselves is what happens when a customer clicks on your listing? And the average customer can spend up to 8 seconds on an Amazon listing before they decide if they want to buy. So it's literally 8 seconds. That's all you get. And in those 8 seconds, they're asking themselves 3 things. There's probably hundreds of things, but it's these 3 main things. Does it look right? Does it look better than the rest? And can I trust it? And if your listing can't answer all 3 of these questions, they're gone and they go back to the search results. They're probably landing on your competitor. And the most painful part is that a lot of Amazon listings look identical to each other. They have the same angle, same white background, same format. And you've invested tens of thousands into your product, your photography, your A+ content, and yet a customer is still making a decision in less than 8 seconds. So here's a reframe. You don't have a traffic problem. You probably have a listing problem. So your listing is getting visitors and you're just not closing them. So the good news is Amazon updated their UI to fix this. And in May, Amazon made honestly the biggest listing update in years. They moved 3D models directly into the image carousel, like you can see here. So before this change, 3D was buried. It was a hidden button on the listing, and a lot of customers never found it. But now it is literally here in the image carousel where every customer is already looking. So they scroll through your images, they hit the 3D model, they start spinning it, rotating it, zooming in, and inspecting it from every angle. So you have to ask yourself, do you want more customers to spend more time on your listing instead of leaving in 8 seconds? Well, a customer can stay up to 30 seconds more, sometimes longer, by interacting with a 3D model. And every single Amazon metric on the planet says that when you increase time spent on the listing, you increase conversion. So Amazon actually didn't do this by accident. They did it because the data told them to. So Amazon ran extensive testing before this update, and here's what they found. So customers who interact with a 3D model are twice as likely to buy. Listings with 3D see an average 9% uplift in total sales. So, and also 22% of Amazon returns happen because the item wasn't as described. So 3D eliminates the doubt before they ever hit the buy button. And Amazon have put this front and center because the numbers told them to, and that's all you need to know. So do you want a guaranteed method to increase sales and reduce returns on your products? Because here's where things get really interesting. So we looked at like the top 100 listings across almost every Amazon category, and 99% of products are not even using 3D models. However, since the update, it is growing exceptionally fast. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to be the first brand in your category to have this? Because right now you still can be, and most sellers haven't moved on it yet. So we've seen this exact thing happen before with A+ content, and it happened with videos. So the brands that got those assets first were miles ahead of their competition, and that gap is open right now, but it closes the moment your competitors figure this out. So just a reminder that the supplement brand that we worked with had a 15% increase in conversions, but none of their competitors had a 3D model. So if this is so good, why isn't every seller already doing it? And here is the honest answer. So Amazon has the strictest 3D compliance standards of any marketplace on the planet. Every model is manually reviewed for colors, proportions, dimensions, file specs. They check everything and they reject it a lot. So when we were first learning this, before I even created my company, we had over 30 rejections on one single 3D model, and that was 2 months of back and forth. And the freelancers we were using were charging more with every single revision, and it didn't even go live. So we had to start from scratch. And here's what most people don't realize. A large proportion of Amazon's compliance requirements are not in the public documentation. You only find them through the rejections. So you have to learn them the hard way on your own timeline at your own cost. So every brand we spoke to has waited like 4 weeks, 6 weeks to get a single 3D model live. And that is why most brands gave up, not because 3D doesn't work, but because the process was completely broken. And the freelancers offering 3D as a service, 99% of them, including some that appear on Amazon's directories, haven't even solved this. And they're learning through your rejections on your time and charging you for it. So do you really want to spend months fighting rejections to get a 3D model live, or do you want it done right the first time? And that is the only question worth asking here. So we spent over a year working through every rejection scenario that Amazon throws at a 3D model, and we built an entire process from that. So we're SPP verified. We have over 150 3D artists, each one trained specifically on Amazon's compliance standards, including the criteria that isn't available in the public documentation because we found it ourselves. So we built an internal validator tool that catches the problems before they're uploaded. And we run an upload to Amazon guarantee. So if your model is rejected, we fix it, no extra charges, we just fix it until it's live. So just a reminder, on the previous case study of the art kit where we doubled conversions, it passed first time in under 48 hours. So do you want to get ahead of your competitors before they figure out this new 3D wave? So here's what it looks like. So right now, you basically have two options. You can leave this webinar today, go back to your listing, you use the same assets as everyone else. Customers will honestly leave in under 8 seconds, and you wait till you see a competitor with a 3D model, and they steal attention away from your product, which will cost you sales. Option 2, you get a 3D model and your listing looks completely different from every competitor in your category. Customers stop and explore instead of bouncing, and you're capturing the land grab while it's still available. And 6 months from now, you're the brand who captured the first mover advantage. So the only thing standing between you and option two is a decision. So we're running an offer which is 25% off. You can use the code FIRSTMOVER at 3dimages.ai if you use our AI estimator, and it's valid till the end of June. And all we need to start is your Amazon listing, a few product photos and dimensions, and that is literally it. We handle everything else. And if you actually want to see what your product looks like as a 3D model before you commit anything, you can message me directly after this and we can build up a rough mock-up of your product. And there's no commitment and it's completely on us. So the window is open right now. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, really cool. I was looking forward to a lot of all the presentations, but especially this one because this is kind of, this is one of those big updates that you just don't want to let slip by. I know everybody's focused on the title limitations right now, but with these 3D images, time is money, right? So if it takes you months to figure out this process by trial and error, versus just going to Ganesh and his team, I mean, that's going to pay dividends for sure. And I mean, a 10 to 15% bump in conversion, I mean, you can do the math and that's, 50,000 a month in revenue. You're doing is 1,500, 3,000 a month that you're driving in additional sales. So awesome presentation. Yeah, it's really about, perceived value, right? Like if customers go to your listing versus your competitors and yours has a 3D model, they're going to perceive the value to be much higher, right? And so it makes sense that the conversions would increase. So yeah, get in front of your competitors, get that live on your listings. Thanks so much for that. Next up is Mike Begg. So Mike's one of the OGs in the space. He's from AMZ Advisers, been around for a long time. AMZ Advisers is an Amazon Ads advanced partner that's worked with 550 plus brands around 20 different marketplaces with in-house teams across the Americas. Mike's topic is how to use TikTok and affiliates to drive traffic to Amazon. So I'll pass it to you, Mike. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth. And I'm going to share my screen. I know we also already had some conversations around TikTok, so I'll try not to repeat a lot of what you've heard before. First of all, as Seth said, I'm Mike Begg. I'm the CEO of AMZ Advisors. I'm also an owner of Reach Social. Reach Social is a TikTok partner. We've been working with some of the biggest brands in the supplement, beauty, and personal care spaces and getting some really good results for them. What we're going to be focusing on today, though, is how platforms like Reach Social and TikTok allow brands to drive more traffic to Amazon, but we're also going to focus on opportunities outside of just TikTok. There's a lot of opportunities in affiliate marketing, a lot of opportunities in paid media, and a lot of opportunities in PR that can have a lot of traffic benefits for you. I think when we look at what we've been seeing over the past year, at least, is at least on our client accounts, and I'm sure there are a lot of sellers out there as well, organic traffic or overall sessions have been on a decline. And what we've been noticing is that, well, advertising is taking up a bigger and bigger share of what our overall sales drivers are on Amazon. And that's not a great situation for most brands. That's kind of the way that just Amazon's going in that direction. So the problem that most brands need to solve going forward is how do I drive cheaper traffic and how do I drive a higher volume of traffic so that once I have people inside the Amazon ecosystem, we can actually get to them and convert them. And that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit more today. Right now, most brands are kind of running the TikTok shop platform and the Amazon platform, their D2C website, as separate silos instead of really focusing on how do we silo or funnel, all the traffic to a silo that's going to convert best. We already know that Amazon is the best converting platform, so we always recommend driving as much traffic as possible to Amazon to convert. And it's only going to have the other benefit of you essentially increasing your organic rank on Amazon. One way that we're focused on this right now, and I mentioned this already, is on the TikTok side, but we also look at how we can drive more and cheaper traffic with affiliate PR and other sources. But the end goal of the funnel is create as much awareness as we can for our products outside of Amazon, capture that awareness by funneling them into Amazon. And then from there, how do we leverage things like DSP and other marketing platforms to capture that demand that originally hit the Amazon pages? The first one is going to be about the brand halo effect, and I believe that's what was already discussed. What we see is about a 20 to 30% increase typically on Amazon sales from TikTok campaigns that we're running. So, for example, if you're driving $100,000 in sales on TikTok, you're going to expect to see another $20,000 to $30,000 in sales on Amazon. That benefit alone can drive a lot of increases, organic ranking and product discovery. It also drives a ton of traffic. And that's the thing that's a little bit more difficult to measure because you can't really see and you can't really attribute a lot of the traffic unless you're using affiliate campaigns and creator campaigns on TikTok in coordination with Amazon attribution to actually track that traffic. We do that in some instances, but the majority of the time we are running TikTok shop campaigns, and the halo effect tracking over to Amazon is powerful enough. In this specific example of a client we looked at, we saw 43% halo correlation between the TikTok views and the off-platform traffic and sales on Amazon. This instance, it actually had a higher multiple than the 20, 30% on Amazon, but that's typically what we see. The next part where we try to focus is how do we drive more affiliate traffic and how do we drive traffic from other sources? So here's an example of a campaign for the same brand that we ran last year during Q4. Leading up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we made a big push on the affiliate side, partnering with platforms like Levanta to help reach affiliates there, partnering with our TikTok creators that had Instagram accounts and other media channels where they were able to push traffic for our products. And we used a lot of Amazon attribution to actually do that tracking through Levanta. We don't focus so much on creator connections because I don't like the control you have over it. We focus a lot more on getting really high quality creators through Amazon attribution and then pushing traffic that way. The peak that we saw during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday period was about 16,000 additional clicks in a single day from the affiliate traffic we were driving. That is essentially 16,000 more people that we're going to be able to retarget in the future. Just from affiliate revenue, we drove about 151,000 in Q4 just through affiliate traffic. Conversion rates on affiliate traffic is lower. And that's kind of where we're going to talk about in the next step on how we leverage that traffic to remarket to them. But because the cost is only paid on a cost per action basis, the cost per click actually becomes incredibly cheap, and the return on the affiliate commissions actually, on the affiliate efforts actually becomes really good. In this specific campaign, we saw 7.3x ROAS on the affiliate we were driving, plus we got the 10% brand referral bonus for our clients from all that attribution traffic. Finally, here you can see what the actual DSP funnel looked like coming out of Q4. We drove 68 million impressions over Q4 for this brand, 390,000 detail page views, and 36,000 ad purchases. These were essentially all people that we were going to be able to retarget now on the DSP side. And we work with a really good DSP provider and a really good DSP software to help take advantage of that. The amount of traffic we drove was substantially higher than you can see what the prior year period was for the quarter. And a lot of that came down to the TikTok work we were doing, the affiliate work we were doing. And at the end of the day, that led to a 32% increase in ad purchases. With the DSP, we really like to focus on the bottom of the funnel after we've driven the impressions. How do we get people to convert? How do we get people to come back and buy the product? How do we create customer loyalty, increase average order value, all those different ways. And that is one of the things where we focus a lot of the DSP effort once we come through a high traffic period or come out of a campaign where we push a lot of TikTok traffic or we push a lot of affiliate traffic. So high level, that's kind of what the funnel strategy looks like. And essentially, this is the explanation of how the flywheel compounds. We're essentially using creator demand and affiliate traffic to push a higher organic rank. Conversion rates are going to be lower. It's going to lead to more reviews through sales, but with those lower conversion rates, we're going to use DSP to remarket to them to try to get repeat customers, get more purchases, increase customer lifetime value. And that's just going to allow us to keep recruiting better and better creators for the brand because we have the proof of how these brands, of how these other creators have benefited from working with this brand in the past. and how they can actually make more money from it. Again, here's the full case study. If you'll see, this brand has been growing pretty substantially daily for the past year. As we pushed higher going into Q4, we came out into Q1 at a substantially higher run rate than where we were prior to Q4. And it's just continued from there. And the DSP traffic has given us, or the DSP retargeting has allowed us to take advantage of that traffic as we've continued in through the rest of the year. If you're interested in learning how to implement this yourself within your own business, you can scan to get your own QR. You can scan the QR code to get your own copy of the playbook. And if you're interested in having this implemented for your brand, you can also book a call by scanning the QR code. So that is very high level on how we drive more traffic through affiliate and TikTok, and how we complete the funnel by DSP at the bottom and essentially help brands win more on Amazon. So thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mike. Super interesting topics, a lot of great value. So I think we're up on time here. Tempest wasn't able to make it, so unfortunately, maybe she can share her kind of value plug in the email after this. But we do have a little bit more time, so I'll go through two questions that we have here. One is for IGPPC. So how do I know if a term has high intent?
Ooh, that's a very fun one. The main thing I'm going to take a look at is what are the actual conversion rates for the rest of the market. So I actually take myself out of the equation. Obviously, it's helpful when you can see, again, the terms that you are competitive for where you're beating the market. But I just want to know, if I stack rank every single term, what terms actually have both high conversion rates and high volume behind them. So SQP will give you the actual count of total sales that are taking place on individual terms. And so if I combine those two metrics, that's going to help me stack rank.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Ganesh, I have a question. Do you know which categories convert higher for the 3D modeling? Like, do you have those data points to know which categories would benefit the most from doing that?
Yeah, electronics, furniture, jewelry, footwear. There was one more, can't name off the top of my head. Sunglasses, eyewear, because obviously Amazon have the virtual try on. But generally speaking, like anything with a lot of volume, you're getting like tens of thousands of impressions on your listing. Extra time spent on your listing is valuable to anyone. So generally across the board, it's valuable. I just wanted to point out one last thing. Sorry. It seems like our website is down when I had people trying to sign up on our website. So perfect timing. So yeah, for people who were trying to sign up, just send me an email. It's Ganesh@3dimages.ai, and yeah, we can basically sort you out. So yeah,
sucks, I had that happen last week to us, so it happens to the best of us.
Worst timing, man.
Yeah, it's always like that, right? It's like the worst time. Yeah. Tempest knows all about that. She's trying to jump twice and wasn't able to jump out. Okay, yeah, we'll send all the information on email after this, just all the offers from everyone. Make sure all of our participants got it. I think there were a lot more signups than we had joined, so anybody who signed up will send this to. Okay, TraceFuse, last question. What happens when a brand's rating drops from 4.5 to 4.2 stars?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be another huge drop, right? I mean, that's from a 4.3 to 4.2 will be that same effect in the sense that, I mean, obviously that's a huge drop. You're going to obviously see you can lose anywhere from 10 to 50% of your sales. You're going to get that from your four stars that you see visually or for 4.5 to 4 stars. I mean, that's a huge drop. If that was to drop like that overnight, I would look at either there's something that potentially happened if that happened overnight, right? A 4.3 to 4.2 can happen. A 4.4 to a 4.2 or a 4.4, excuse me, a 4.5 to a 4.2 would be a huge drop. So that's definitely something you want to take a look at, depending on what your category is and how much you sell and the competition and all that kind of stuff. Those are all going to be variables on how much that would affect your sales. But once again, I always tell people, as we talked about earlier, you want to be more proactive than reactive. So hopefully you don't ever have to do that. You can either go monitor it yourself and protect the house there. And if you start to drop to a 4.4 or a 4.3, then I would definitely look at maybe some help if you can't figure that out.
Yeah, either you're getting sabotaged by a competitor or shipping a bunch of products that are broken or something.
There's huge. Something huge just happened. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. That's it for us. So again, this has been Ecom Sales Flywheel, how elite sellers stack traffic, feedback, conversion signals. Hopefully everyone got a lot of value from this. I know I did. I took a bunch of screenshots from everyone's presentation. So I appreciate all the panelists for joining. Thank you guys so much. Anyone that has questions, reach out to us. Again, we'll follow up after this with an email. And yeah, keep crushing it for Prime Day, everyone. Thanks so much. Good luck in the World Cup as well.
Cheers. Thanks, Seth.
Take care, guys. Thanks.